Knowing when not to trade is more important than knowing when to trade. A lot of traders know when to trade, but do not know when not to trade. Wondering, the CRT inner circuit trader, how am I supposed to know when not to trade? Because knowing when not to trade is way more important than knowing when to trade. Knowing when to trade is easy. Knowing when not to trade is way more difficult and way more important than knowing when to trade, right? But wondering, the CRT inner circuit trader, how am I supposed to know when not to trade? Great question. But here, as you guys know, I'm a consultant in problem solving, right? As you guys know, what is a consultant? Consultant? I don't know the name. I just saw, that old guys talking about, you're a consultant if you solve a problem. So I'm here to solve problems, okay? I'm here to teach you. I'm here to solve your problem. No, a problem of yours is knowing when not to trade. So I'm saying I'm a consultant in that. Knowing when not to trade is way more important than knowing when to trade. And how do you know when not to trade? Is simple. The CRT inner circuit trader. But what's the answer to it? What is the answer? I'm gonna let you guess a little bit. 3 second guess. Guess real quick. It's easy, simple. Ready? It's by rules. Only that easy. It's that simple. Oh, rules. Rules are supposed to let me know when not to trade. Yes. Yes. Absolutely correct. Why? Because your rules tells you when you should be getting into the market, and it tells you when you should not be in the market, right? Example, as you guys know, everything I say is always with examples. I do not say bullshit shit without actual proof. Right? So you guys know, other influencers, they yap, but they don't show proof. They give hindsights. I chart, right? Give proof right here, right? My rule says SMT divergences or SMT divergence must happen between 6 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. If SMT divergence happens outside that specific time zone, I do not enter the trade. So if the SMT divergence happens outside that time zone, I do not execute. So that means that is when I don't not trade. So that is me knowing that is when I'm not going to trade. So knowing when not to trade is more important than knowing when to trade. So that right there says when not to trade. So it's way more important than knowing when to trade, right? So my rules right over here today. SMT divergence happen between 5:15 a.m., which is outside the time window of 6 to 10:30 a.m. So I do not execute. So now I know when not to execute. So as you guys know, when knowing when not to execute is more important than knowing when to execute. So now I don't execute. Now I know not to execute because this breaks my rule. Holy, that easy, right? Your rules always tell you, when to execute. Your rules should always let you know when not to execute and when to execute. Simple as that, right? There's multiple other rules, right? Today's a Pacific rule. You can see a market is pulling back, right? Since my rule says not to execute the trade, I did not, and I could let this trade play out, see how the market goes, and tomorrow we could have another opportunity, right? You see how this lets me know when not to trade, right? Which is way more important than knowing when to trade. Real quick, make sure you guys join Discord. Link is down below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, right? This is very, very important because a lot of you guys take bullshit trades, take bullshit, rules, execute a trade, and you wonder why it went a loss. You wonder, Taki, I don't know, like I'm trading every single day. I want to cut this off. I want to go, I want to take high probably setup. make sure if you want to take high probability setup, you must have rules, right? You must have rules such as, you know, the rules could be multiple things, right? It could be, you want to set rules where it prevents you from taking so many trades. If you take what 4 trades in a week and you're not like with that, you want to take lower setups because for those 4 trades, sometimes it's gonna be 3 losses, sometimes it's gonna be 2 winners, right? Sometimes it's gonna be 3 wins, right? But there's those losses play too much with your emotion. So we're gonna lower that and focus on high probability. So you set more rules to prevent those trades from happening, so you can take only 1 or 2 trades maximum, right? So now this literally tells you when not to trade versus it tells you when to trade, right? Because your rules are supposed to set like that, right? I fucking made a long explanation for that, but knowing when not to trade is way more important than knowing when to trade. How do you know when not to trade? Is by rules. Set rules just like this. Today it says my rule says SMT divergences must happen during a specific time, because during the specific time is when the market likes to burst liquidity, right? So it happened outside the time window, so I do not execute. So that tells me when not to execute as well. And this trade just happened. It is what it is. It just went off, right? So this trade goes on a loss. It goes on a loss. Whatever, right? Nothing hard feelings. Because if this goes on a way up higher here, guess what? I don't lose no money. I preserve capital because I knew when not to trade. This is how you guys know when not to trade. This is how you guys know when to trade, is by setting rules, right? So you guys like, comment, subscribe, share. Join the Discord down below, and make sure you guys always know when not to trade and know when to trade, because knowing when not to trade is way more important than knowing when to trade, right? I'll see you guys later. Peace out.